they're the humble beginnings of 1983 by Mike Kenny and Mary Jones that I met first, and to what it is now, and what the committee of today have brought into fruition. Fair play to you. It's a wonderful, wonderful event. But so many great people, Mike Kenny, and of course Padraig would be so proud to see the respect that the music has now, not only here but all over the place. But one of my favourite people, writers, there's a great statue of him across the road that I got to take a picture of me standing beside him today, Con Woodane. Con was wonderful. The sayings he had. One of them was, you know, when you come to county bounds, there was a town called Raivwee. It's a couple of miles in on the Cork side of the Kerry border, and you know they still have the Kerry accent. And Con said, Raivwee, where Kerry ends and Cork hasn't quite begun. And he also said, one of the most beautiful statements, I think, for the accent, the different English accents that we have all over the country. And there's very little in the richness of that and the Irish language in the Gaeltacht. There's very little. Con said, I have great respect for the English language, even though I don't speak it myself. I speak Hiberno English. English woven on a Gaelic loom. I think that's beautiful. English woven on a Gaelic loom. So, yeah, we're going to do a song now that my father used to sing, Colleen das Crúit in the Mow. And it's just this man in love with this woman who was milking her cow. It wasn't a milking machine at all them days. I remember being inside with John Kelly years ago, and who came in? He was singing on the Late Late. Oh, I think I forget him now. He came in anyway, having done his bit out there, and he said, John asked him, was there any drink there? No, he says, water. Drink water, sing water. That was John Kelly's mess on drinking water. Tablianun is mogam gestacht, le kogger de leishach mavon, o kasach lum gragal moich leven, tranonin bragdene savorn, David vo vane korsigem negem, Sna hele gemeirich lekom, servrochot rohanin letevlam, de vikalin das Crúit no Mow. Ta sulim marlon ran grenem, lasse tispervichoi. Says dedige gruano caron, escape mascreve no gnom. Ta bielinis milchen nas miren, says gille na laun of das no. Ni log them is dashes a telsam. Na Colleen das Crúit no Mow. Man a welchem choirven a nacht, leis bed van rogile shoot falls, is dierschach de vronach ma helsan, gans werkes gan efach gan choir. Nie weg solas im chruin av im winten, na sonne sarum in allo, winterum, Calin, das Cruten mo. Da weintje wordt heernis na heren, iedere schied agus rol. Da weintjen wandrin is hierdem, da wil het dallos abeon. Da weintje kerlinges maar spelen, pilodi kuslan is Barom we bachter vrim schleven, le kalin das krute no. I learned that waltz version of that air from Cliodhna, and it's great when she's on stage, but she doesn't talk. It's the only chance I get to talk when I'm beside her and put in my place. So we're going to play two hornpipes now by the great fiddle player from West Clare, Junior Crehan. A great time for Junior. I never saw him in any hurry. His daughter told me that the only time he was in any fluster was when he was running out the door, going to the pub. And his music reflected that. I think he paid more attention to the music of the tune than in ornamentation of his life or of the music. So this is a hornpipe he called Her Lovely Brown Hair Flow Down Her Back. And seemingly sometimes he called the tune Her Lovely Brown Hair Flow Down Her Back, and the colour of her hair was black. The name was longer than the actual tune itself. And then and Cliodhna was the second one. I remember having a drink with Junior one night, and he was talking about being this fella. He was at a wedding, and he was up at the bar, and there was this fella beside him. He was well known for drinking too much, and the parish priest appeared beside him, getting a drink, and he says, well, now he said to the man who was drinking too much, do you know, every one of those pints that you're drinking, it's a nail in your coffin. Is that the way, Father? He says, well, seeing as you're there, why don't you drive another one on it? I had a great friend called Daddy Shee. He was a writer. And when I lost him, I was in a bad way. And he was convincing me that I should start writing. So I started, it came out this year. And I'll read a small bit of it. I wrote it in Irish. It was cathartic to write it in Irish, but it was hell to translate it to English. And the girl who had it translating it, she's an English woman who was fluent Irish, and she's in her 70s. And I was saying to her, I also said this, I also said that. So I understand now what lost in translation means. And she says, she says there's 5 or 6 different ways of saying the same thing in an interesting way in the Irish language. But in the English language, there's only one. So I had to live with that. So I'll read. I can find it. I was the youngest of 9, and I'm sure a lot of people here, for the first 5 or 6 years of my life, we had no running water and no electricity. And from that to this, and we never missed it because we never had it. And there was 14 people in the house, and we were never lonely anyway. And ours was a music house, singing music all the time. Other people, it was football, and that sort of thing. My father had no mass at football. He said he preferred to be looking at a field of sheep than a football game. I don't remember a time when there was music in the house. Could you brighten that light a small bit, please? Good man, thanks. He dimmed it when I started reading. He must have it in for me. I don't remember a time when there wasn't music in the house. If it wasn't indoors, it would be outside in the yard or in the outbuildings where someone was milking the cows or cleaning the cowshed, shaving, knitting, or mending some old garment that had been abandoned. There was music and song on all sides. My father and mother were both good singers, and I liked nothing more than to watch them waltzing or dancing sets on ball nights. I remember one time when I was a very small child and I was crying, and my mother lifted me out of the cot to pacify me. She threw me in the air and caught me singing, she wouldn't dance, dance, she wouldn't dance all day, and some other words that I can't remember. I feel that rhythm when I'm playing or dancing to this day. My father played the accordion, and I remember his hobnail boots striking sparks from the floor as he sat by the hearth with his instrument on a summer evening. We would lie on the floor watching the sparks coming from the soles of his boots. That was the first time I saw the flame of music. My mother was the first person I danced with when I was 8 or 9 years old. It was a summer's evening, around 9 o'clock. There was a small céilí going on in Hallan na Fiochnaí. Maurice Quinn was playing waltzes for the Irish language students. The sound travelled over the river and across the bog so that we could hear it clearly in Ballinabuk. My mother taught me where to put my right hand and where my left was to go as we danced to the music. I don't suppose we have ever been as close since. I felt at that moment that the dance made a man of me. When I was 15 or 16, my mother gave me the words of a song that her father used to sing. I barely remember him. I was just gone 4 when he died. But he was a man called Pat Lynch. And I was talking to Pat. There were very few songs written after the famine. We were emotionally destroyed. And the only song that I ever remember was Skibbereen, "Oh Father dear, I have times here." But the song that my mother gave me, and I was talking to Thomas McCarthy, the traveller, the Tinker. It's a great name, Tinker. It's come from the Irish language. And tin Hjord, tin trade. They were great tradesmen with tin. So he was saying that the travellers composed 6 tunes. And I told him about the song. That was one of them. So maybe my grandfather would have got it in the broadsheet version or something, a Dingle Fair or something. So it's about an immigrant who ends up either in America or the US or Canada or England or Australia, who knows. And I've never heard it sung, so it reminds me of when you're driving through Listowel, you'll see this piece of poetry on the wall by Breanndán, the great poet from North, and he says, "All the songs are living ghosts and long for a living voice." And I enjoy singing the song, even though it's fairly sad, however. There came to the beach a poor exile of Erin. The dew on his thin robe was heavy and chill. For his country he sighed when at twilight repairing, to wander alone by the wind-beaten hill. But the day star attracted his eyes, that devotion, for it rose o'er his own native isle of the ocean, where once in the fire of his youthful emotion he sang the bold anthem of Beaglaoich. "Sad is my fate," said the heartbroken stranger, "the wild deer and wolf to a covert can flee. But I have no refuge from famine and danger. A home and a country remain not to me. Never again in thy green sunny bowers, where my forefathers lived, shall I spend the sweet hours, or cover my harp with the wild woven flowers, and strike to the numbers of Beaglaoich. Erin, my country, thou sad and forsaken, in dreams I revisit thy sea-beaten shore. But alas, in a far foreign land I awaken, and sigh for the friends who can meet me no more. O cruel fate, wilt thou never replace me in a mansion of peace where no perils can chase me? Never again shall my brothers embrace me. They died to defend me or lived to deplore. Where is the cabin door fast by the wildwood? Sisters and sire, did you weep for its fall? Where is the mother that looked on my childhood? Where is the bosom friend dearer than all? Oh, my sad heart, long abandoned by pleasure, why did it dote on a fast-fading treasure? Tears like the raindrops may fall without measure, but rapture and beauty they cannot recall. Yet all this sad recollection suppressing, one dying wish my lone bosom can draw. Erin, an exile, bequeaths thee his blessing, land of my forefathers, Beaglaoich. Buried and cold, when my heart stills her motion, Green be thy fields, sweetest isle of the ocean, and thy heart-striking bards sing aloud with devotion. Erin Mavurnin, Erin Gobroch. Good Bheaglaoich. Another great man from this part of the world, one of the best that I've ever heard as a fiddle player, Paddy Cronin. So I remember hearing Paddy play this in Hennessy's one evening and called it Aid O'Neill's. And then we play a hornpipe that I learned from the playing of Cliodhna. Those people came from the Great Baskets. The broomstick, I think he called it. thanks Morgan for a great sound. And thanks everybody involved. I won't even name any more of the Christe for all you've done. As I said, wouldn't Padraig be proud of you? And we're going to finish off now with a few polkas. First one is Dennis Doody. Dennis Doody from Breanndán, who lived in Shannon. I often met Dennis, and he used to play with Donald O'Connor. And the dude, Donald O'Connor, Dennis Doody. And then I'd heard this old man from on the Long Note years ago with Jackie Small. And Jack Ryan was his name. He was 92 years of age playing the concertina, and he played this hornpipe in such a beautiful way. It was a kind of a sad polka. We might be doing it justice in the sadness department, but he called it, He Stole Away My Daughter. And the third one then, I got from a great friend and mentor, Johnny Leary. And as Johnny would say, Padraig again. I never heard him say Patrick. Padraig again, he said, and all the tunes that he associated, and give him full credit for it. And so, good to be the Mahagavsha, Stachta Tanocht. I'll give you the Madame Horse, and you'll go with it. Margaret.
Wow. Breanndán and Cliodhna Begley, thank you so much. Just a couple of thank yous. First of all, to all of you who've come here to the Pádraig O'Keeffe weekend. We've had 4 sold-out seated events here in the River Island. Thank you so much for your support. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Second thing, we'd like to thank our 2 major sponsors. We've had great sponsorship from all over the town, but 2 of our sponsors in particular have come in really and give us huge support. It helps us to maintain all these events. Devan's Garage, Volkswagen Out the Road, and Wright Group Engineering have been of huge help to us. We really appreciate it. Thanks to both of you and all our sponsors. To be honest, an event of this size can't really happen without the River Island Hotel. The whole park, the experience of the whole weekend, so much of it is centred around the hotel. We thank them immensely for their patience with us, providing the venues and putting up with all the madness. So thank you to River Island. Finally, thank you all to all our volunteers who've volunteered at all the doors at all the different events, turning up early in the morning at schools outreach programs, all sorts of stuff. There's a big team of people who give their time generously, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So we've one last event. If you want to go absolutely wild, we've Polka Carr, we've had Trad Disco, and Sean Kelleher, Keelan McGran, and Rebecca McCarthy Kent, and it's going to be a wild night here all till 3 o'clock in the morning. You're more than welcome. We've 30 tickets left if you fancy going to the dark side, and we will have to clear the floor to enable that event to happen. So just to help us do that, if we could vacate the hall as soon as possible, we would appreciate it. And finally, thanks to O'Sullivan Sound for Trojan work and patience all weekend. Thank you.